The puzzle over the existence of contraband sugar in the country seems to deepen, with the government issuing contradictory statements over the issue. The Ministry of Industrialization says there are no traces of mercury in the impounded sugar, as claimed by Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i. The Kenya Bureau of Standards has proposed a recall of all the sugar that does not meet quality standards. Of course, that is our top story. It is Friday, the 22nd day of June 2018. The World Cup still going on in Russia. Despite big disappointment last night, we're going to give you that results and much more right here on the News Center. My name is Yusuf Ibrahim, and this is how we're going to begin the show this morning. I've been challenged by my director to juggle the ball. He's challenging me to at least do it for just 10 times. I'm going to give him about 20, I think. Oops! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I've done that. Anyway, let me take you straight to some of the big stories we are following for you at this hour. Here's the news desk. And as public confidence falls on the fight against corruption, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee summoned the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to account for their mandate. And then Safaricom Taweza goes to Meru County. The event will happen at Kinoru Stadium. I'm going to join my colleague George Maringa shortly. And of course, World Cup 2018 group matches continue today, with Nigeria taking center stage at 6 p.m. East African time. Of course, with regards to the World Cup, Argentina lost by 3-0 against Croatia. A shocker there. And of course, France defeated Peru by 1-0. I'm going to link up with our sports reporter, Moses Wahisi, shortly in the program. But first, let me begin with our top story this morning. The Kenya Bureau of Standards says samples of seized sugar that was tested at its laboratories is contaminated with heavy metals like copper and lead. Despite the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, saying the seized sugar contains mercury and copper, KEB's Managing Director Charles Ongwae maintains no mercury was detected by its laboratories, raising a possibility that alternative laboratories could have subjected the seized sugar to further test. KEBS has proposed that all contaminated sugar and that which does not meet quality standards should be recalled from the market.
The Principal Secretary for International Trade, Chris Kiptoo, and his industrialization counterpart, Betty Maina, led a team of officials from the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, and the Anti-Counterfeits Agency to update the National Assembly's Committee on Trade and Industrialization on the state of illicit trade in the country. The meeting comes amidst reports that Kenyans could be consuming poisoned sugar that was imported into the country mid-last year.
First batch of results that we gave the Criminal Investigation Department did not contain any tests for mercury.
Suddenly, Ongwae was pushed to a tight corner to explain why KEB's findings differed with Matiang'i's and the Directorate of Criminal Investigation.
Can you confirm to this committee that you are not the institution that provided those results?
There are other institutions that can test in this country. Government chemists can test, the national laboratories under the Ministry of Health can test, the universities can test, but at the end of the day, what determines whether a result can be reliable or not is whether that specific laboratory has been accredited.
KEB says it collaborates with other government agencies like Kenya Revenue Authority, Anti-Counterfeit Agency, Kenya Plant Inspectorate Agency, KEFIS, Agricultural Food Authority, Sugar Directorate and Pharmacy and Poisons Board before imported sugar can be cleared at the port of entry.
The product failed in meeting the standard specification. Yeah. It has copper. It failed. Why don't you have courage and say, Kenyans, sugar branded Kabarasi, it has copper. Sugar, UGT Africa, it has copper.
Of the sugars that we tested, we did not find mercury. We have not said we did not find the other things.
The sample D1 chair failed in color, copper, polarization, total viable count, yeast and moles.
When you say copper, there was presence of copper what?
Yes, copper was detected and it was above the limits which are set.
The limit is 2 milligrams in a package in a kilogram.
Allowed parameter is 2 milligrams per kg. Yes. And what was found is 20. Yes. 20.7.
In terms of this sugar, then even anything above 2 is not acceptable.
Ngwae says sugar seized from diamond wholesalers in Isli failed inspection test.
We do not know how it got into the country. That is number one. Number two, that is the sugar that has actually failed in copper.
Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
Thank you, Amimo, for that report. Now, as public confidence falls on the fight against corruption, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee summoned the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to account for their mandate.
Thursday afternoon, and the House was convening to discuss an important issue that has pushed many to despair. At a time when the country was saturated with endless discussions on how corruption was sinking the economy, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution were summoned here by Parliament to show cause why the efforts were seemingly going west.
There's a perception outside there that what the EFCC is doing is going for the small persons.
Perceptibly, the long-standing split between EACC and ODPP was partly blamed on why cases of high-level corruption in Kenya were not getting prosecuted.
All these tons of sugar in our country, which pass through our ports, which ports are manned by our security forces, your agents being represented. What went wrong?
Last week, the DPP said it will take back tens of cases to EACC for failing to pin watertight evidence to prosecute. EACC Chair retired Archbishop Eliud Abukala was on a trip in Jerusalem and was represented by the CEO Halake Wako and Vice Chair Sophia Lepuchirit. DPP Nurdin Haji captained his ship.
Honorable Chair, we received a total of 508 cases over the period between 2013 to 2018.
Committee members wondered why it was increasingly becoming evident that the investigations targeted the small fish and avoided the big culprits.
This analogy of a fish and the players of corruption has been so difficult. It's difficult in that the definition given by Kenyans sometimes is that when you talk of small fish, a chief.
And there were more concerns from the MPs.
Why do they think it's not fair to close those files? Is it because of alleged corruption, allegations of bribery, or there was other evidence to be unearthed? Or is it because of the public mood of the country that this case should not be closed? Because it's very critical to know why you think this case should be closed. EACC on one part thinks this case should be closed, but the DPP are saying no, this case should not be closed.
The two bodies defended their mandate and said they too harbored serious concerns to tell Kenyans. On the NYS, the DPP has told the committee that he has obtained a letter from the Asset Recovery Authority indicating that an account was injected with 100 million shillings and 3 million went to settle base for NYS cases way before bail was sought and ensure the monies are not proceeds of crime. The EACC, DPP exchanges still on. Pressure remains high on investigating agencies funded by taxpayers to review their mandate and batten the hatches. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Nairobi.